Hello and welcome to Kids Heaven Public School online classes. Okay, so my grade 11 students, from our NCRT book of Hornbill, our chapter number 4 story, Landscape of the Soul. We are going to continue the second part, the reading and explanation of the story. We know that the writer in the story tries to show us the difference between the Chinese art and the European art. So now let us continue and see further more differences. This concept is expressed as shan shui, literally mountain water, which used together represent the word landscape. More than two elements of an image, these represent two complementary poles reflecting the Taoist view of the universe. Now you see, we are being told that the Chinese call this concept shanshui, which means mountain water, and when it is used together they represent the word landscape. Okay, now let us see the two elements of an image. The mountain is yang, reaching vertically towards heaven, stable, warm and dry in the sun. Okay, so now in the two elements of an image, the first element is yang, which describes that it is reaching vertically, okay, upwards towards the heaven. It is stable, that is, there is no movement. It is warm and it is dry in the sun. While the water is yin, that is horizontal and resting on the earth, fluid, moist and cool, that is completely opposite of yang. The interaction of yin, that is the receptive, the feminine aspect of universal energy, and its counterpart yang, which is active and masculine, is of course a fundamental notion of Taoism. Okay, so we can see that it has been described as yin, the feminine aspect of universal energy, and yang, the active and masculine version. Okay, what is often overlooked is an essential third element. Now there is a third element which is often unlooked, that is overlooked, it is ignored. Okay, this is the middle void where the interaction takes place. Now obviously if we have two elements, there is always a meeting point. So that meeting point is called the middle void. This can be compared with the yogic practice of pranayama, that is breathe in, retain, breathe out. You see there are three elements here. Breathe in the first, then retain, then breathe out. Retain here is the middle void. The middle void is essential. Nothing can happen without it. Hence the importance of the white unpainted space in Chinese landscape. Now look at it. We are describing it in this way, that the middle void is essential. It is important. You see, if we do not retain, we cannot breathe out. If we breathe in, we must stop, we must retain, and then we breathe out. So the same way in a Chinese landscape, yang is important, yin is important, as well as the middle void, because without it we cannot understand what the landscape is about. This is also where man finds a fundamental role. In that space between heaven and earth, he becomes the conduit of communication between poles of the universe. His presence is essential even if it's only suggested. Far from being lost or oppressed by the lofty peaks, he is, in Francois Cheng's wonderful expression, the eye of the landscape. So you see, this is where our artists are describing man as the eye of the landscape. Why? Because we have heaven, we have earth. We have heaven as yang, we have earth as yin. Now the space in between, the middle void, is where we can look and present our views. We can understand what the whole landscape is about. Now this was an excerpt from Landscape of the Soul, Ethics and Spirituality in Chinese Painting. Okay, it has been a little edited, not much. Now let's just look at this short article here, Getting Inside Outsider Art. As I told you earlier, we have two types of arts. We have outsider art and then we have the raw art. Now when French painter Dean de Buffet mooted the concept of art brut in the 1940s, the art of the untrained visionary was of minority interest. From its almost veiled beginnings, outsider art has gradually become the fastest growing area of interest in contemporary art internationally. This genre is described as the art of those who have no right to be artists as they have received no formal training, yet show talent and artistic insight. Their works are a stimulating contrast to a lot of mainstream offerings. So as I told you, now outsider art, we don't have skilled trainers in this. They don't go and study about art, but yet whatever they present is something remarkable. They present very good arts, drawings, paintings, landscape. Okay. Now around the time Dubuffet was propounding his concept in India, an untutored genius was creating paradise. So you see, now we have this concept about India also, that there was this genius who never studied about art, who was not tutored, but yet he was creating paradise. Now what do we mean by this? Let's see. Years ago, the little patch of jungle that he began clearing to make himself a garden, sculpted with stone and recycled material, is known to the world today as the rock garden at Chandigarh. Okay, so look at it. This is the rock garden sculpture that started just with a little few stones and recycled material. And who was this untutored genius? He was Nek Chand. Its 80-year-old creator-director Nek Chand is now hailed as India's biggest contributor to outsider art. The 50th issue, Spring 2005 of Raw Vision, a UK-based magazine pioneer in outsider art publications, features Nek Chand and his rock garden sculpture, Woman by the Waterfall, on its anniversary issue's cover. So you see, when you have a talent, it doesn't mean you must go formally get education, get a certificate. No, show your talent. Nek Chand never studied about arts. He was not tutored about it, but yet he is India's biggest contributor to outsider art. And look at it, in a UK-based magazine cover, the sculpture of his rock garden and Women by Waterfall has it on its cover. The notion of art brut or raw art was of works that were in their raw state as regards culture and artistic influences. Anything and everything from a tin to a sink and a broken down car could be material for a work of art, something Nek Chand has taken to dizzying heights. So you see, he used all kinds of recycling materials. He used tin, he even used some sinks and even some spoiled cars. Recognizing his art as outstanding testimony of the difference a single man can make when he leaves his dream. So you see, this was just his dream. And this shows a difference, that even if you are educated and you have the best training in arts, but when you have a talent and you have a dream, you can present even the most beautiful scene. The Swiss Commission for UNESCO will be honoring him by way of a European exposition of his works. The 5-month interactive show, Reign of Nek Chand, beginning October, will be held at leading museums in Switzerland, Belgium, France and Italy. The biggest reward is walking through the garden and seeing people enjoy my creation, Nek Chand says. So apart from the awards or the honors he is being given, according to Nek Chand, he says that the biggest reward for him is when people walk through his garden and enjoy his creation. This is a small part. This is an article from Hindustan Times given by Brinda Suri on the 28th of August 2005. And with this we complete Landscape of the Soul.